topics that might help you to succeed if you are experiencing stress, anxiety, and psychological difficulties. And we are trying to provide recent research on related topics, and to increase your awareness and to support you with these challenges that you might be experiencing. And today we will be discussing about developing a business if you are having symptoms of ADHD. And there is a story circulating in entrepreneurial culture that ADHD is a superpower, and that the same brain that cannot file an expensive report can see a market opportunity nobody else can see, and that the chaos is the price of the vision. And there is an opposite story, usually held privately, that goes, I'm fundamentally disorganized, I'm a failure, I'm failing at the basic operational things that other people find easily. And eventually everyone will discover that I'm a failure and that I cannot run actually this. And both stories contain something true and both incomplete. And today I want to give you the actual research on what ADHD brain genuinely do well in entrepreneurial context, and on what they are struggle with, and on how to build a business that works with your neurology instead of demanding that you become someone else. There is a research literature examining relationship between ADHD and entrepreneurial activity, and it consistently finds elevated rates of entrepreneurial intention and activity among people with ADHD symptoms. Wickland and colleagues studying entrepreneurs with ADHD found that the traits associated with the diagnosis mapped onto specific entrepreneurial behaviors, a preference for action over extended deliberation, comfort with uncertainty and risk, and intuitive rather than analytical decision-making style. And in an environment that rewards rapid action under incomplete information, they are not deficits, they are advantages. But the same research also says that chaos, action bias become liabilities in the operational scaling phase that demands consistency, discipline, and adherence and sustained attention to unglamorous details. And when you're launching a new business or dealing with a crisis, things need to move fast and nobody knows what will happen. And people with ADHD often naturally excel here because they are able to take decisions fast, they are able to take risks, and they prefer taking action instead of waiting and overthinking and planning for months. And they are comfortable with risk and uncertainty. Chaos doesn't make them feel scared, and they make decisions intuitively rather than getting stuck trying to analyze every detail. In a startup environment where you have to make decisions fast with missing information, these traits aren't deficits at all. They are major advantages. But why some traits cause trouble later? Because the same research has found that it completely depends on the stage of the business. Once a business survives the startup phase and needs to grow and to run smoothly, the stage requires doing the same routine things consistently every day, follow strict operational processes, being disciplined, paying close, sustained attention to boring and glamorous details, filling the invoices. And in this phase, the exact same trait that made someone a great founder, like constantly wanting to pivot, loving chaos, and having an urgent bias for action, can become liabilities that cause stress and friction. So, and here what you can do about it. Later we will share certain strategies that you can apply in order to stay disciplined and to maintain your motivation, even during times when you need to develop your business and it seems boring. And the feature about hyperfocus. So hyperfocus is one of the most misunderstood features of ADHD, including the people who have it. And it's the opposite of the attention difficulty, and it's the same underlying mechanism. And ADHD brain is a in ADHD brains, attention is regulated by interest, novelty, change, and urgency, and by strong feelings rather than importance. And when something genuinely engages those dimensions, attention that will not attach to routine work becomes extraordinary, intense, and sustained. And for a founder, that can mean 12 hours of uninterrupted work on a problem that genuinely fascinates them, producing in a day what would take another person a week. And this capacity is real and is genuinely valuable. However, it comes with two costs that are worth naming. Uh, Hyperfocus is not voluntarily directed. You cannot choose to hyperfocus on the quarterly financial review, for instance, or while filling your invoices. And it's time blind. Hyperfocus episodes reliably consume more time than intended, which is how founders miss meetings and cannot maintain their discipline, or they skip meals, and they spend entire days to things that can be done in several hours, and then it causes challenges in their time management, emotional regulation, relationship difficulties, and this causes shame and avoidance and procrastination, and this cycle can continue forever. I want to be also honest about difficulties, because the same superpower that helps the person to succeed might also cause difficulties. For instance, something that might happen reliably every week, regardless of interest for the person who doesn't have ADHD symptoms, might cause difficulties for the person who has ADHD brain. They might they might find it harder, and it's not about cognitive difficulty, but difficulty staying focused and maintaining motivation, which is completely different problem and doesn't respond to trying harder. And time estimation. Berkeley's time blindness research applies directly here, and founders with ADHD systematically underestimate how long will tasks take, which affects runway calculations, delivery commitment, and team planning in ways that have real business consequences. And follow-through novelty fades. The energy that launches something is genuinely abundant. The energy requires to maintain it. If 18 months later, when it has become rotten, it's a different thing entirely. And therefore, many ADHD founders have a history of exciting starts and unfinished uh, middles. And emotional dysregulation. People who are experiencing ADHD symptoms might for them it might be difficult rejection sensitivity, or exhaustion, or burnout, or anxiety. They might feel this feeling stronger than ordinary people, and it might lead to relationship difficulties or difficulties with planning. And the shame level, there is something underneath all of this that I see constantly and that deserves direct attention. Most adults with ADHD arrive at adulthood with decades of accumulated messages about being careless, lazy, unreliable, or not giving up their potential. And those messages were usually delivered by people who cared and who had no framework to understand what was happening. And they were absorbed, and they formed a core belief that the person is really lazy, undisciplined, a failure, that they cannot complete or maintain anything. And the belief that doesn't disappear when you later receive a diagnosis or build a successful company. It also shakes your confidence and self-belief and perception about yourself, and might lead to depression, anxiety symptoms. So the founder who cannot get their experience field is not just dealing with an executive functioning, but also they are dealing with 40-year-old story that disproves something shameful about who they are. And that shame layer is frequently more disabling than the executive function itself. So on the top of dealing with executive functioning challenges, they are also experiencing sometimes a lot of critics from the people around them, and having relationship difficulties, and having difficulties managing their time, maintaining motivation, regulating their emotions. And there is a belief among many creative and entrepreneurial people with ADHD that structure will kill the thing that makes them valuable. In my experience, the opposite is consistently true. Structure applied to the operational layer is what protects creative layer. When when invoicing happens automatically, when financial review is on calendar with someone else present, rather than administrative load is externalized or delegated, cognitive and emotional bandwidth that was being consumed by dread and catch up becomes available for the work only you can do. And the goal is not to become a highly organized person, it's to build external structure that does the organizing, so that your attention can go where is genuinely productive. So this simply means that finding factors, features that are working for you, where you can be easily successful, and using them more often. And for the parts where you are experiencing challenges, there can be certain strategies you can apply to help yourself, such as reminders, setting alarms. For instance, if you are finding yourself in hyper focus, and if you cannot stop your attention from doing certain things, and if you are being overly consumed, setting alarms to interrupt the cycle, or setting appointments with people so that it will remind you about responsibility, or things that you cannot do, body doubling, doing them together with your friends or colleagues can help you to stay disciplined. Or if you are running a business, and if you constantly experience challenges with invoicing or staying disciplined or doing certain routines, boring tasks, you can delegate them to someone if you have opportunities or financial opportunities. And this would make your company to thrive, to be more successful, if you find people who are better in being disciplined, in invoicing, in doing routine things. And if you combine your talents, your success with their, this can lead to a successful business. Whereas even if you think that having like-minded people and people who are like you would help you to succeed, but this might give a lot of creative ideas, but the discipline part, the routine part, might be suffering. That's why uh, understanding these details, understanding advantages, disadvantages of your brain, and using them wisely is one of strategies you can use if you want to have a successful business, if you want to develop your business. So most consistently effective structural decision I see ADHD founders make is hiring or partnering specifically for operational complementarity, and doing it earlier than feels financially comfortable. This instinct is often to hire more people who are like you, as I have discussed. However, it can produce disadvantages, financial disadvantages in long term. Externalizing time and memory, because time blindness and working memory difficulty are hardware issues rather than effort issues. So oftentimes you cannot do better if you will try harder. So uh, time externalization, for instance, making time visible, using clocks in the workspace, countdown timers for every task, calendar blocks rather than task lists, and critically for hyperfocus, setting alarms that would interrupt. Memory externalization means that nothing important lives only in your head. One capture system checked at defined times, containing every commitment, and Zeigarnik effect. Research shows that unfinished commitments occupy cognitively resources until they are either completed or explicitly planned. And for a brain already managing working memory constraints, that background load is significant. Therefore, like delegating tasks that you cannot complete, and setting reminders, externalizing time, using more detailed tasks, writing down why this task is important for you, deciding with whom, where you are going to do, using body doubling at parts where you find some parts challenging, are some strategies you can apply. and designing around interest rather than discipline. ADHD brain responds to interest, novelty, emotions, challenges, urgency, and personal meaning, not to importance in the abstract, and trying to force motivation for uninteresting but important work through discipline is fighting neurology, and it usually has no effect. Therefore, workarounds are practical. Attaching boring tasks to urgency by creating a real external deadline with another person involved might work, and attaching it to values explicitly. For instance, doing this protects my team from chaos rather than I should do this, and novelty by changing location or format, adding accountability through body doubling, or simply working alongside someone else, which is one of most reliably effective ADHD interventions and one of least understood. And some people, I'm noticing, they are having shame about experiencing these challenges and have a lot of self-criticism and being harsh with themselves. However, for instance, you will not feel shameful. You will not criticize yourself if you had to wear glasses. And this is exactly the same. It's not something you have chosen. This difficulty, it's not something you can want or you can drop. It's your biology and there is nothing wrong with you. It's just how the brain works. And instead of blaming yourself, you can try to use these strategies. If you have more questions, you are welcome to leave your questions in the comments. I tried to share certain recent research about strategies you can use if you are experiencing ADHD symptoms, and uh, we discussed about advantages and disadvantages of having a different type of brain. I hope this was helpful for you. If you want to watch more content on these topics, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications, and see you in the next videos again. Take care.